Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. We are here in Denver. We're at the MBA annual. I have an incredible guest for you. Doesn't really need an introduction, but I'm going to definitely give him one. As I love to say in these sessions, we talk to movers and shakers, thought leaders, people moving the industry forward, and someone who all of you guys will recognize. He's out there. He's doing social right. He's doing video right. And more importantly than anything, he's continuing to share it with all of us so that we can improve. Welcome, Brian Vieaux. It's great to have you.
Michael, awesome to be here. Awesome to hear your voice this year.
Yes, it is nice to have a voice this year. As I said, some people are probably very excited about it. For those of you that are disappointed, go watch the videos from last year. I could barely talk.
All right.
So, Brian, you're doing a lot of incredible things online. But I think one of the things that has really impressed me the last couple of weeks, the last month or so, is how you're diving into analytics on LinkedIn. Tell me a little bit about how you started doing that, how Greg Shear's involved,
Right.
and everything else.
So I'm a data nerd at heart, right? So 2 years ago, my LinkedIn profile was growing, but I didn't feel like it was moving in the direction I wanted it to go. And so I intentionally started following people like you who are active on LinkedIn, putting out great content. And I built this list of 50 people on a spreadsheet. And it was simple. It was just just names and then the number of followers they had, because all of us can see
right.
That's it's public data. Then I took it a layer further. I'm like, well, I wonder if there's a way where these people can actually help me grow. So I looked at, if you go to your LinkedIn profile and you click on Brian, you would see how many shared connections we have.
Okay.
So I added a column and started tracking the shared connections from these top 50 people that I was following on LinkedIn. And what I found was the range of shared connection was like 15 to 30%. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, wait a minute, it's only 15 or 30%.
70%, 80%
How do I grow?
more people.
So that list of 50 grew to 200 plus. And then I think what happened was Greg shared, I was sharing my report with him, or the list. He took a snapshot of the top 50 and then made a post on it. And it wasn't controversial, other than I didn't really want to go that route with like who are the top followers, because it's a little bit of a popularity game.
Yep.
And his post, it was crazy. It went crazy. There was all kinds of comments, and some not great, some borderline negative. But what I learned was there are a lot of people paying attention.
Yes.
And I was watching who was commenting, and it was a lot of people that didn't have huge followings. And so I did a little experiment with a handful of people who in my circle, if you will, and I started tracking our engagement on our own content.
Okay.
And so what I was tracking was number of impressions, engagements over a 90-day period. You were one of my guinea pigs. And then I just did some calculations. What's the engagement per follower percentage? What's the engagement per impression percentage? And I had 20 people initially that submitted. And I just did a reverse order, largest to smallest on percentage. And people with the largest followings, like you and I and Greg, were at the bottom of the list in terms of engagement. And so I'm like, well, wait a minute, let's publish this out there and recognize some of these people that don't have the 30,000 followers. And that thing went crazy. Like, everyone's like, I want to know where I'm at. So what I love about it is we're recognizing and shining a light on people that haven't been as prominent on LinkedIn.
Right. But are trying to get there. And
they are.
You brought up another one that I know was a controversial topic, and I'm going to just throw it right out there. Pods.
Oh, yeah.
And I love this. For those of you that don't know, there's pods out there, and you can pay to join a pod. And then that pod is basically required to comment on your post.
Right.
And I so love that you brought it up. I didn't comment on that one, but I wanted to share a client story with you because I knew you'd be coming for this video. I used to have a client that had a pod. They were part of a pod program. And they're like, see the results we were getting, and I was helping them with some social. And I'm like, yeah, I see the results. Let's pull them up. There is a chiropractor in Germany who liked your post. Hey. And I said, and let's go to the next one. Wow, an author in Belgium who writes books that I don't even want to talk about what they were.
Right.
She liked your post too. And so tell me what you found with the whole pod, but that's been my experience.
So there's some people on our tracker that have done pretty well, seemingly, with the metrics. And when you peel back the onion, you start looking closer at their engagement, it's super low. And so it's like, well, wait a minute. What's going on here? Why, if we're all talking about the same stuff in mortgage,
Right.
why would there be a difference between this person and this person in terms of the engagement when the followers are about the same? I have no inside baseball knowledge, but just speculation. And so I have a coach that I work with it's a guru on LinkedIn, not a, what do they call it? LinkedIn juice or whatever. There's some terminology they use. This guy actually gets it because he uses it as a sales tool. And what he told me is you go into the terms of service, into the, the agreement that we all sign implicitly with LinkedIn, and pods are called out as a violation of terms and service. LinkedIn could shadow ban you, which means no one would see your stuff, and kick you off. That's their right. And
after all the work you've put in to build
right.
this. So I want to talk about one other comment you had in that post. Is I think the reason people go to these pods is they're looking for a shortcut.
There is no
They're
shortcut.
looking for that. So there's no shortcut, but how do we learn from one another, and where do you balance the best practices, the tips, the suggestions that other people have so that you can do it right, you can save time, but you don't try to do it the wrong way and cut corners?
Yeah, I think, and I'm learning, right? We're all learning
We're
together.
all learning, and that's what I love.
Beauty of
It's ongoing.
What I've been intentional about is blocking time a couple times a day where I go and engage, actively look for content, because sometimes it doesn't show up on our feed.
Right.
So I got to go look for the content, and it's, I have a target audience. We all have our target audience that we want to talk to. And so I have my list of people that I know I want to go and make sure I'm seeing their content if it doesn't come to me organically, and comment on it. And guess what? The algorithm's pretty smart, guys. You go do that, and guess who shows up in your feed tomorrow?
Exactly.
And then guess whose comments or posts show up in their feed? Yours.
And when you comment on someone's, most people, the knee-jerk reaction is they're going to comment back. And it starts then, that dialogue, that connection. One of my next guests I've known on LinkedIn. We've become great friends on LinkedIn, and I finally get to meet her in person. And that's the power of this. So you've given so many great insights there. You're here with FinLocker as well.
Yeah.
For people that want to get a hold of you, what's new at FinLocker, how they can get a hold of you while you're at MBA and find out more.
Just DM me on LinkedIn, because I've got the alert set up. There's a lot of, here's the coolest thing that I'm seeing on my LinkedIn is posts go out, whether it's me posting or somebody else posting. Comments are made. I'm commenting on theirs, they're commenting on mine. I'm watching conversations that are happening, not just with me, but between people that are following my stuff.
Right.
And then another thing that I'm very intentional about is pulling conversations from the comments into DMs and like having real conversations. This is it's not a game, guys. This is part of business, and this is part of my strategy to grow our company.
I love it. And as you said, pull those out, put them into a DM, foster and grow an actual relationship. It's more than just playing a game on social if you want to grow business. Brian, I can't thank you enough for being a guest on this episode. We're here live in Denver. We're talking to the movers and shakers, and this is one of the biggest of them out there. If you guys aren't connected, you should be. If you're not engaging, you need to be. Brian's doing it. He's doing it right. Follow his stuff. You'll learn a ton. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.